And I've created a workshop that I do with some of our clients. And so this workshop is actually, usually I'll do it with a mix of technology and cyber leadership and with non-technical leaderships and board members. But a lot of times organizations like mine, even beyond vulnerability assessment, will come in and we'll assess an organization's security. We might do a maturity assessment and we may do like a vulnerability and pen test assessment with it. But all these really represent like bottom up components of assessing risk. So from a bottom up perspective, you can say these controls work well, these security controls and safeguards don't. You can say these are a list of like your top CVEs. This is the path that an intruder would take, all those kinds of things. But that's still bottom up thinking. And these
Mm.
business folks are doing top down thinking. So we gather this intel bottom up wise, and then this workshop is meant to do top down, where I'll sit down with people and say something along the lines of what keeps you up at night. And to be more specific with them, I go, if you didn't have security, if security didn't exist, what things would you worry about would wreck your business? Because there's a lot of things that security does. And this teaches them to think differently. It also gives me a list of the things that are most concerning. So if it's some consumer driven business, I'll go, are you worried about your list of consumers and their activities getting out publicly? Are you worried about like your secret sauce, like your IP getting out? Are you worried about somebody's safety getting harmed? What are the things like this that you're going, and I could go on and on like that. One client that I work with is an energy producer. So they put electricity on the wholesale grid. So for them, if they are knocked offline and they cannot produce electricity, every day they don't produce electricity, they're losing, I think they told me $200,000.
Yeah.
So if you've got that figure and you get executives to say, yes, if we can't produce electricity, it's a problem. And we go, what things go wrong? Not producing electricity will cost us that much. And we'll also probably, by the way, trigger an audit. So like energy department will look at NERC SIP, like regulations and go, looks like you're not following these. That may be an issue. And so you also have to like take people off of time doing productive work to do fix it work. So all these things will happen. And so they realize that all these things can go wrong. So you take this list of what their top fears are, and you then temper it based on what you found from that bottom up review. And the way we do it is pretty straightforward, where we take a look at different kinds of attacks maybe they faced or people in the industry faced and say, would all those things that we found that you're doing today, would they stop an attack? Would they prevent it? Would they allow you to detect it? Would they allow you to quickly recover from it? If the answer is no or partially, then it means you're not doing enough to maybe stop those top down concerns we found. And that deficit is where you explain to people this, see this deficit? This is where you have to focus your time. It's that difference between the things that keep you up at night and the things you're doing to help you sleep better at night. It's really,
Mm.
those are the differences. And once you show that to people, they go, fine, great. Now, what do we have to prioritize so I don't have to worry about that thing as much? And that's
Mm.
really, it doesn't sound complicated because theoretically it's not, but getting people comfortable with the terms, getting them to come together, showing them how this works so that you've got the technology people that are able to make fixes and show the improvements. So it's not just like hot air, and having the top level folks ask the right questions going forward so that they can show that they've understood why this thing needs to be done and they're really interested in hearing your answer.